Welcome to the Go for CEO channel. Thank you so much for tuning in today. And I have another great and special local small business owner dominating his field, right? Swartz and Reader Advisors. His business over the last couple of years, I've gotten to know him a little bit. I did an interview with him, just more of a one-on-one, just conversation while he was taking a walk through the wilderness and letting me know some of the routines that he has. But, community, we interview CEOs, founders, entrepreneurs of business, startup to 25 million in revenue. And we want to share with you the marketing, the operating, the scaling, and all the things that really it takes to build a CEO business. But not only that, a CEO mindset, right? And being driven by mindset. So Michael, thanks so much for coming on board and being with us on the Go for CEO channel.
Hey, John, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me on, brother. Hello to all the Go for CEO community. I've been looking forward to this interview for a while now. And John, it's been great getting to know you these last couple of years. So I'm fired up, man. I'm ready to jam with you, man.
Unleash the power, right? No, yes, I love it. I love it, man. Off camera, we were just kind of dialoguing about your new routines. Congrats. You have a 6-month-old, first baby of the family. How's that going?
Oh man, it's going great. It's an adjustment for sure that I'm sure every parent out there, when they became a first-time parent, they can relate to. My sleep schedule is kind of all out of whack, but my wife's sleep schedule is all out of whack. But our daughter is she's just the cutest thing, and we're having so much fun with her. So it's a blessing.
Awesome, brother. I've got 3 of those, 3 girls. So you're in for it, man. They have you at the finger, especially for fathers. Now I'm biased, obviously, but as much as I wanted a boy, I mean, girls have just been unbelievable blessing. Definitely a lot more emotions in my house and a lot more dealing with emotions, but it's been a blessing. So Mike, we usually kind of share with our audience the beginning parts of, what made you who you are and where you're getting. So give us a little bit of your background, where you grew up, kind of just the mindset of things that got into maybe even your initial education and prowess into the corporate world, if you had that. So just a little foundation of yourself.
Sure. So I just turned 34 a few weeks ago, and I came into the accounting industry right out of college in the summer, fall of 2010. The reason why I got into accounting initially was because it was a practical industry to go into out of college, and I didn't want to spend more than the 5 years it took me to finish my undergraduate. So I started out at Indiana University, Bloomington, had a little too much fun there partying, to be completely honest. Came back home to Chicago area, got grounded, and I finished up my education at Oakland Community College and Northeastern Illinois University. I jumped around majors, over at IU, and I was a physical therapy major. I was a journalism major. I couldn't get passionate about them. And so when I came back home over at Oakton in Northeastern Illinois, I didn't want to be I didn't want to be like Van Wilder, right? Like, taking 8 years to graduate college, like always partying. So I was just like, you know what, I'm going to settle on accounting because it's practical. I like math, so I'll just get an accounting degree. And that was really all of the thought, like that was really the only thinking that went into like why I got an accounting degree. And so when I graduated college, right when I was still in college, when I was finishing up, I was working over at my cousin's restaurant in Northbrook. My cousin owns Max and Benny's restaurant and deli in Northbrook. And so I was working as a cashier and a deli serviceman for, my last few semesters of college. And my cousin hooked me, like he put me in touch with his CPA at the time, and his CPA offered me an unpaid internship for a couple months in the summer of 2010. And so I took it because I really didn't have any experience, and I'm getting this accounting degree, and I really don't know anything about accounting. So I took that internship, and so then in November of 2010, I first met Barry Swartz. I was connected to him. Barry Swartz's brother and my dad were childhood friends back in the north side of the city back in the 1950s, 1960s, and they lost touch for several years. And getting reconnected in conversation, hey, so what's going on these days? Oh, my son's about to graduate with a degree in accounting. Oh, my brother's got a small CPA firm out in Schaumburg. They should connect. So sure enough, I met Barry Swartz in November of 2010. And as we always say, it was love at first sight. He took me under his wing, taught me the ropes of everything. And I now own, it was Swartz Financial Management then. I became a partner in 2015, switched the name to Swartz and Reader Advisors. Before then, my wife Mimi joined the team in 2013, originally as a payroll specialist, but she would go on to pretty much overhaul all of our internal controls and completely bring the firm into the modern world. And so I now own, along with Mimi, the firm that hired me originally out of college. And so just blessed to have a mentor like Barry Swartz, taught me the ropes of everything. My real education began when I started working with Barry in 2010.
Nice. No, and getting that education, kind of finding your way, is one of the aspects, right, of becoming someone in life. So tell us a little bit about, you get there 2010. You said love at first sight, but what were some of the, I guess, grunt work that you had to do to really learn some of the processes and things that made Barry already successful?
I had to do a lot of bookkeeping myself. I had to pretty much teach myself a lot about on how to do tax returns. Barry is a genius accountant, but he's not the most tech savvy person. So a lot of the actual going into the computer, into the software and doing the tax return, I figured a lot of that out on my own, reviewing tax returns that had already been prepared, and just learning the accounting year-end procedure. So getting a set of books and doing all the necessary year-end adjustments, such as tying out all of the balance sheet accounts, tying out depreciation, tying out payroll, all that stuff. Pretty much going through all of that for the first few years of my time working with Barry before I became an owner, and just familiarizing myself with all of those processes. And that's why I said that's really that was really my education in the accounting industry, because I took some classes in accounting at Northeastern Illinois, and I really you can only learn so much from a textbook. Learning on the job is really the most beneficial learning that there is out there. That's the real education. So, doing all that grind work, I my first few weeks, I went into the file room and I was just putting files away. I was I was doing literally that low, that ground level stuff. Oh, okay, Mike, your job for week one is to file away all the files. Yep. And so I did it. I was humble. And then one thing led to the next, and and then Barry just, he kept, teaching me things. I stuck with it, and he believed in me since day one. So I just never wanted to let him down.
That's awesome. So look, you go through this journey. How many years was it till you started to figure out, hey, there could be an opportunity to become a partner? And give us a little bit of the background. Did he approach you? Did you start to think okay, well, how does this work? Do I have to pay you a certain amount? Give us a little bit of that journey and where that ended up.
So since day one, so Barry has two daughters, and they're grown up. He's got grandkids, and the two daughters never really had any interest in getting involved in the business. So as we joke around, I'm the son that Barry never had. And we really have a great, I consider him a second father. And so really since day one, he was Mike, because at that time he was contemplating merging his firm with another firm as his exit. But then when he met me, he was well, I like the idea of having you be my protege and I teach you everything. And then one day you can take the company over from me down the road. And so that was always the plan since day one. So he literally taught me the ropes of everything, of all things accounting. And then once I got my foundation in the industry, then, I the value prop, having someone like me, and then eventually my wife, when she would come in 2013, we were able to take the business to the next level with, bringing it into the modern world of paperless workflow, a much better tax software, building up our team of the actual process of like when like everything that goes from like when the client's documents first arrive all the way to the final tax return, and that entire process, just improving that, optimizing that. We've been able to take it to the next level, but you have to crawl before you walk, and you have to walk before you can sprint. And so pretty much those first few years, I really had to learn to crawl and learn everything from Barry before me and Mimi can take the firm to the next level. But that conversation about being an owner was really something that we were starting to like have like since day one. And it was just a matter of him teaching me the ropes. And then once I learned the ropes, me and Mimi and our team, we took it to the next level. And Barry, he may not know certain things about, technology and stuff like that, but he surrounded himself with the people that were able to do that. And so back then, when I was 24, 25, 26, I still had a lot to learn. But then as I was becoming my late 20s and early to mid 30s now, there's a lesson, like it's for any business owner out there, you have to surround yourself with good people on your team. You have to triple down on your strengths and hire out your weaknesses. Surround yourself with people that compensate for your weaknesses. And maybe he didn't do it knowingly at that time, but as soon as he brought me on board, and then I brought on me, and then we invited, we were able to bring Mimi on the team in 2013. That it's really like it was a big exercise in doing just that, and we weren't even thinking about it at the time. But now as a business owner, owning two businesses, one that same CPA firm, and the other one my business brokerage franchise consulting firm, which I'm sure we'll touch on. It's go for CEO, right? Like a big part of being a CEO is surrounding yourself with a team. I like to be the dumbest person in the room. If I'm the dumbest person in the room, then that means that I'm putting a good team together.
There's a nugget right there. Oh, that's incredible, right? So look, you get in 2010. I mean, you're filing stuff right now. I mean, you're thinking to yourself, why? Okay, I really like what's going on here. You're learning. Mimi comes into 2013. So what was that dynamic? She just came in as an employee at that point, or had you already had a relationship with her? Did you know her? What was kind of the dynamic? Because ultimately, sounds like, you all became partners. Business partners.
Yeah, so I knew Mimi before I met Barry. So me and Mimi, we were dating already in 2010 before we would go on to get married, and so I already had a relationship with Mimi, a personal relationship with her before I met Barry, and she was working as an admin at another local CPA firm, and we had another girl on our staff at the time at Swartz Financial Management. I was still an employee then too. And this other girl was like the main person that was handling all of the payroll accounts for our clients. And this other girl, she quit. And so when she quit, we needed someone to like process all the payroll for our clients. So Barry was like, well, what about Mimi? And I was like, okay. Like, so I was like, hey, Mimi, so like, hey, we kind of like this other girl quit. Like we're kind of have an opening. Do you want to do it? And so like Mimi and I, we knew each other before I met Barry, but Mimi and I, we originally met at my cousin's restaurant when I was working there in college. And so we met originally in the context at work, and we developed, and we started, we started our relationship by just getting to know each other because we would work together. She would be a hostess and a server. I was a cashier and a deli counter guy. And we would end the day. I would close out the servers and busboys tips. And do all the day and like the end of day like procedure, like with like the cash register and everything, clean up the deli area. She would be cleaning up like the bakery section, and like just that we developed that rapport working together. So we originally met in the context of work. So when the opportunity arose for her to work over at Swartz Financial Management to do the payroll stuff, it was just a no-brainer because like we've always been working together. That's how we met. So it was a natural, hand in glove. Just it made perfect sense when it happened, and so that's the story of how she got involved with the company.
Nice. And had you guys already just throughout your conversations and obviously starting to date, was there any entrepreneurial talks? When you started in 2010 and she was still at what she was doing, and now you're not working together. When you would get together, just because the power couple of you that you are, did you have any foundational talks of entrepreneurship and thinking, man, maybe one day we can have something together?
Yeah, that's a great question, John. We knew that we always wanted to do something together. We just didn't know what. And really, I would consider her more of an entrepreneur than, like, those talks would be more about her and her family than me. Her dad is an entrepreneur in Bulgaria, which is saying a lot because it's a fairly poor country, and the economic climate there is really like not good compared to America. Mm-hmm. And so, but he owns multiple currency exchanges. He owns multiple retail stores that sell like home good, like home products, like electronic supplies. He runs a hotel out of his house. They built like 2 or 3 stories on top of their house, and they live in a ski resort town. And so, she comes from this family of entrepreneurship. More than mine. My direct family is not so entrepreneurial, but I have other like my cousin in Israel. Like I have cousins and uncles and stuff that and a grandfather over on my mom's side that have like, so I've got that entrepreneurial bug, not necessarily from my nuclear family, but from like uncles and grandparents and cousins, etc. But Mimi and I, when we would story tell about our backgrounds. She would tell me a lot about her father, my now father-in-law. Obviously we met at my cousin's restaurant. So we always, like, when I started working with Barry, Mimi and I would always talk about doing we talked about her coming over to work with us over at Barry's office. We just didn't know how it would look. And for me, I didn't really me becoming an entrepreneur was something that I kind of learned about myself as the years would go on. Because I knew I was going to become I was cultivating this relationship with Barry, but I didn't think of myself as an entrepreneur for those first several years. It was a stepping stone job. Like I had that conversation with Barry, but I was still in my mid-20s, and I didn't know exactly what was, what if me and Barry ran into issues like with compensation. Like once I got my CPA and I wanted to make a certain amount of money, but he was only able to pay me this, maybe I would go to another CPA firm because it just didn't work out with Barry. So it's it started out with Barry with this plan for me to be his protege, but I also knew in the back of my hand, I was like, well, you never know. And so I hope that it works out, but I never know. And so I didn't really start to, but then as the years would go on, it's been an amazing journey that it indeed turned out the way that it originally was intended to be. But yeah, I mean, it's the entrepreneurial talks were something that they would gain momentum as time would go on from the beginning.
No, I love it. I love it. Yeah. And, you had to self-discover yourself. I have a little bit of that scenario where my nuclear family wasn't necessarily entrepreneurial, but family in Colombia, I would go visit there and I'd be like, what the heck, man, this lifestyle's way different than I noticed that my parents, right? My adoptive father was in the steel industry, so steel worker in Franklin Park, and my mom was a clerical person. So, so it's just interesting to see the dynamics and how you learn and all that type of stuff. So let's go back into Swartz Financial, right? You're in the business, you're learning from literally filing to starting to work with clients, starting to really develop that muscle of CPA. You get your CPA license. Now you bring in Mimi. So tell us a little bit about some of the operation things that you really thought of, like, boy, we could get into the 21st century. Some things that it sounds like Barry's old school, right? Maybe ledgers and these types of things that we talk about, but take us into 2014, 2015, circa. Let's start to tweak some things in our business. What does that look like for you guys?
Absolutely. So when I was filing away files in the file cabinet, when I first started working with Barry in 2010, 2011, we really had a huge chunk of our office's square footage was this big file room, full of files. So to completely have a digitized file cabinet, So the software that we use is it's a practice management software. So there's one aspect of it that's a file cabinet, one aspect of it that's a tax return preparation software, one aspect of it is a depreciation tracking, one aspect of it is a bookkeeping tracking, one aspect of it is billing. So we invested in Barry had this a very archaic tax software that was only for tax preparation. And so we invested in this practice management software that tax preparation was just one of several pieces, and all the different pieces would talk to each other. It's kind of like the accounting version of like Microsoft Office, right? You have Excel and Word and PowerPoint, but it's all like Microsoft Office is the umbrella. And so we invested in this very comprehensive tax software, digitized the file cabinet. So now we have a completely paperless file cabinet. When clients, we still have several clients that send us stuff via mail, but instead of having but there also several people, would send stuff via unsecured email, and there's just a lot of liability there for both sides. And it also gets really confusing to find documents that are being sent back and forth in email. So we also have we have a secure online client portal for document exchange. So if anyone wants to upload files, we're talking tax returns and social security numbers, so it's pretty sensitive stuff. So it shouldn't really be going in like emails. And so we pretty much have a secure document exchange for our clients, a completely paperless workflow process that our clients can send us their stuff without having to mail it, even though several people do, because we still have several older clients and they're just used to mailing and they're not really tech savvy, and that's fine. But the people our age and the younger generations are only more and more tech savvy, and so that's where the world is going. So we had to get there, and then when we're done with the tax return, to send a digital copy of the tax return to the client. They can view it digitally. They can download a PDF on their end. They can sign it digitally. Send them their invoice digitally. Everything digital. And this seems like no-brainer stuff to a lot of people listening, I'm sure. But the fact of the matter is, there are several CPAs out there like Barry that are in their 60s and 70s that are still to this day are doing a lot of old school. Sending out a paper. So everything was all paper, like paper files and archaic tax software. When the tax return was done, they would send it to the client. Like an actual physical copy of the tax return, and have them sign it and send back the e-file document. It was just, the process was so archaic and so paper, and it wasn't automated and digital enough. So in the tax industry, to be able to digitize that and to improve the client experience, that's a really big thing that we did in the context of the overall workflow. So if you're coming to get your tax return done, from that initial email all the way to the point that your tax return is done, to really make that process as streamlined and digital and client experience optimized as much as possible is what we've done. 2014, 2015 and forward it was pretty much transitioning that old process to that new process.
Neat. So at this point, you're not a partner yet, right?
Exactly. I became a partner in 2014.
14. Okay, good. All right. So what was that conversation like? Because let's share with the audience, that investment, it takes money, right? And I don't know if you vetted out 4 or 5 different softwares or there was a leader in the industry that you really thought to yourself, like, this is who we need to do business and become our vendor. So what was the mindset, and was it a struggle for Barry to give up the purse strings of even though you were a partner now, to invest in that, or how did that dynamic work?
So Barry he pretty much gave before I became a partner officially on paper, he gave me and Mimi full authorization to make the day-to-day management decisions. Oh, wow. So just that trust in us, again, was just, that's why, I'll do anything for Barry. I get emotional talking about it because he's like a second father to me. He really just when someone just gives you that blind trust and just shows you that love, and they really I'm the son of a guy who was Barry's brother's friend. it's not like I'm Barry's grandson or I'm like Barry's cousin.
Oh,
Like,
sure.
like there's a, and so like, but for him just to give me that blind love, like I was his family since day one. I mean, so he just gave us like full control to run the day to day. And Mimi is the one really who, I mean, there's something about Eastern Europeans, man. They're really tech savvy. They're really smart, like they're IT. And so like, she's no exception. Like she's really smart when it comes to like all things she researched the softwares, and she really liked Thomson Reuters, which is, we use Thomson Reuters virtual office, and Ultratext is the software that we use. And, so she did all the due diligence on it. And we just, so Barry gave the day-to-day operations to me and Mimi, and really Mimi took the whole, which software are we going to get, and, the infrastructure of it, that's all her. So I don't want to take any credit. I'm just the pretty face, right? Just
That's
kidding.
right.
But yeah, so she really was the one that did all the due diligence on the software. So like when she was like, this is the one that we should get, we presented to Barry, and Barry's like, let's do it. And that was it.
Awesome. So look, you start to invest, you start to understand what it means to, put capital back into your business, the infrastructure, the operations. You guys saw that over the first 2, 3, 4 years of working with Barry. Now you become a partner, you bring Mimi in, and really starts to become dynamic. So let me ask you this, what was one of the ways that you learned marketing of your business? I'm assuming obviously Barry had a large clientele, and that's great. But how did you start to develop that muscle of marketing and sales? I know that obviously CPAs don't like to say they're in sales, but we're all in sales. So, what was one thing that you learned of the marketing and sales, and how have you, become more robust at that point?
So I've just been a hardcore networker since day one, man. Like LinkedIn is like I'm only on LinkedIn. I'm not on anything else. Like I have company accounts on like other platforms, but I'm only on LinkedIn. That's how me and you linked up a few years ago, LinkedIn. And so I really just, in those early years, I would, and I'm still doing it today. I just pound the pavement with networking, just cultivating relationships, and letting those relationships just manifest over time. And LinkedIn is great. What I've learned over the years, for anyone that's trying to do lead gen on LinkedIn, doing direct, like LinkedIn, like there is an art and science to doing like direct B2B and direct B2C on LinkedIn, but LinkedIn is also great for the indirect business. Creating relationships, like the relationship that me and John Andrade have, and just developing rapport with one another, just liking each other, just our personalities, and and just like merging ecosystems over time. That indirect relationship is going to result in, Mike, like if someone's looking for a banker, like, that comes into Mike's, he's just like naturally going to want to send someone over to John. And if John, like, and then so like those referrals that come from the people that you just establish relations. So LinkedIn is great for the indirect business, and the indirect, create relationships with people, and those relationships will manifest in business in one way, shape, or form. So pretty much just pounding the pavement on LinkedIn, just networking with people, getting on phone calls, back in the day, like, pre-COVID, like going out, having coffees with people, lunches, breakfasts, and just, like a lot of financial advisors, insurance professionals, attorneys, bankers, just cultivating those relationships, and referrals would start to come. And so I started to generate my own little book of business, of people that I was bringing into the business that were coming in from my own network. But then also Barry, he's been a CPA since the 1960s. He's had his own firm since the 1970s, and so he's, we're working with grandkids of Barry's original clients in several cases. So pretty much just cultivating relationships with these clients, and the relationship would, like they've been so used to doing things a certain way. And so like once we started introducing to them like new processes and how it's gonna be more digital and stuff, like a lot of them were kind of like, oh, I'm not used to this. I'm used to like, Barry and stuff. But then, after 1 or 2 years of like, they would see the value, and they, oh, wow, this is so much easier. This is so great. But to answer your question, John, about marketing, I really just was a big networker since day one, and
Okay.
For self-awareness, it's just a big part of like I am, I guess, a rare CPA in the context of I am I am in sales. I'm a, like, I like sales is a strong skill of mine, and I just happen to be in the CPA business. Like it just happens to be that I'm a salesman in the CPA world.
Sure.
And I like to replace the word sales with value provider. I like to provide value to people, and I happen to have the letter CPA after my name. But you know, like I have my business brokerage franchise consulting firm as well, and but like a lot of my marketing, like so just building up a network, building up an ecosystem of referral partners, good old fashioned networking was a big part of how I started to develop my network and, you know, marketing and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah, no, I mean, I love it because that's so organic. Obviously, it saves some money. Do you also have any part that you've dived into SEO or Google AdWords or anything like that, or have you kept it really tight and make sure that your own personal strength of the strengths that you bring to the table, has that been the way that you really developed the whole business?
Yeah, really. In Swartz and Reader Advisors, we've done nothing in Google AdWords or anything like that. Just
Oh
a
wow,
lot of leveraging the existing client list that Barry's had for decades and improving it and improving the services that we provide it, growing it through good old fashioned organic networking. Also, like for the last 5.5 years, I've been the affiliate CPA of the Franchise Broker Association, and more recently, other organizations in the franchise consulting space, such as the franchise consulting company and the U Network, as well as several other franchise consultants that I've networked with on LinkedIn that are affiliated with the International Franchise Professional Group, FranNet, FranServe, FranChoice, the Entrepreneur Source. And so pretty much I've established over the last 5.5 years, I've developed a niche as a CPA in the franchise and business resale worlds. Several of these other franchise consultants and business brokers, when they're working with buyers, they send them to me as the CPA for a free consultation call. So number one, there aren't many other CPAs out there that give away their time for free like I do, especially, you know, so I give this free consultation call to these buyers. I answer any sort of questions they have in the context of accounting, tax, entity structure, funding, financial projections, resale, financial statement due diligence, items 5, 6, 7, 19, and 21 of the franchise disclosure document, questions that they have as it pertains to their business investigation and business process, and business investigation and business investment process. And several of these buyers, or, you know, after they have that initial call with me, they circle back with me and they work with Swartz and Reader Advisors in a paid context as their business CPA. So I've established this inbound, over the last half decade, I've established this inbound pipeline of franchise consultants and business brokers all across the country that I'm a latch on to their process working with buyers. They make sure that they have Mike, you know, having that 1 hour consultation call with Mike, the CPA, a part of their business investigation and business buying process. So we have several small business clients all across the country that I've obtained as CPA clients through this process. So that process alone, you know, is bringing in a lot of new clients for Swartz and Reader Advisors. And, you know, for all, you know, so that plus good old fashioned networking plus leveraging this client list that we've already had from Barry, we haven't really had to invest in any sort of Google AdWords, but we are, you know, coincidentally in the process of optimizing our web. Like still, like that's no excuse. Like attack everything from all angles, right? So like we're in the process of optimizing our website and making it more optimized for SEO. And we're in the process of building out our CRM so we can market, you know, more value proposition to our clients. And so we're doing all that stuff. And so Google AdWords, I'm sure, is going to come at some point down the road. But right now we're focused on improving our digital presence with our website.
I love it. I love it. No, so, you know, look, you know, you just kind of shared a few minutes there of value, just push value, right? It seems like you've been not shy about giving your time and building those relationships. And now this other hub out of the CPA firm, you know, the brokerage side and the business brokering side, incredible. I don't know if you happen to know, but I had Joe Marley from the Signature Business Group on. He's a business broker. He used to be with Brestlers, the ice cream company, and CarX. And then he went on his own. So we'll have to connect you guys, but if you don't know him. But look, incredible stuff. I really love the way that you kind of went deep into the value proposition. Marketing can mean a lot of things. If you have a lot of money, sometimes you go the easy route. You go the, hey, let me throw it at Google Ads. Let me throw it at Facebook. Let me throw it at this. But, maybe it wasn't necessarily that you didn't have the money. You just had that mindset of like, all right, let me go build relationships. Let me talk to people. Let me give value. And I hope a lot of people took some notes on there. So go for CEO community. Replay the last 2 minutes. Nothing but gold. So, all right. So let's get into this. We said we were going to touch on this part. So I'm excited to share with this. So you become partners. You maximize the operations because you get a new software and you invest it in your business. Tell us a little bit about that, you kind of skimmed over it real quick, but I'm very excited to learn about it. And I think everybody will, is you're a CPA. Why would you think of any other services? I mean, aren't you busy enough? I always try to, say to people, you could maximize your clientele or even maximize your reach by adding new services. So tell us a little bit about why you decided to also add business brokering and some of the other hubs that you may have in partnerships.
Yeah. So I love making money like everyone else. And I also want to wake up every day and love what I do. And I love what I do at Swartz and Reader. I needed something more. And really that really became so in 2014, right around the time I became partner, we acquired 2 smaller CPA firms. We acquired a book of business in Libertyville and a book of business in Elgin, and we merged them into our book of business. Our main office now is in Northbrook, even though the majority of our team is working from home regularly. And I fell in love with the process of buying another business so much that I'm obsessed with helping people buy businesses, man. Like I love helping. I acquired 2 smaller CPA firms with Swartz and Reader and fell in love with the process of buying another business. Coincidentally, one of the clients that we got in one of those books of business was a self-employed franchise referral consultant. So that was the first time that I heard of the world of franchise referral consulting. So here I am. I would pick his brain about how his business works, and he pretty much connects franchisees to franchisors all across the country and gets paid commissions from the franchisors. The franchisors value his service because he vets and pre-qualifies franchisees before he introduces them to the brand. So the brand doesn't have to waste their time with a bunch of tire kickers that end up, going through the process and not investing. And so he helps people buy businesses. So here I am, 27, 28 years old. I just bought a couple businesses myself, and I just got this tax client who's in the business of helping people buy businesses. And so I was just like, man, I'm going to open up my own business brokerage, franchise consulting firm, and help people buy businesses too, because I love this. So that's really how I got in, and then I, quickly realized when I did that there was a big need for CPA advice in this space, because as I would start networking with other franchise referral consultants and other business brokers, they would say, oh, Mike, you're a CPA? I got a question. I'm working with a buyer, and they got a question about what entity, should they be an S corp or an LLC or a C corp, or should they fund their business with an SBA loan or some sort of retirement asset funding, or hey Mike, my buyer just bought a business and they've never used QuickBooks before, can you help them with that? And so that's how I developed my niche in the industry. So I went in with a hedge from the beginning. Not only did I want, I went in with my own business brokerage franchise consulting firm, and we're helping people buy businesses and sell businesses and all that fun stuff. Love it. And really passionate about the buyer side though. I really love working with buyers. I have a network of other business intermediaries that I do co-brokering with on sell. When you sell, you have to be we have brokers in other states that we co-broker. If the seller's coming from another state, we co-broker with the respective broker that we're in that state. We work we take the ones that we do in Illinois solely. But I love working with buyers. I can work with them all over the country, but in addition to working with buyers and sellers over at BizFran Hub, our business brokerage franchise consulting firm, I hedged immediately in 2015 when we went into that business. I also carved out my niche as a CPA over at Swartz and Reader Advisors, as this CPA offering these free consultation calls to other business. This is supposed to be my competition, right? Mm-hmm. But figuring out a way, honey is better than like figuring out a way that we can all be successful together. So, and I stay in my lane on these phone calls, by the way. Like when I'm over here with my CPA hat on, working with a buyer who is referred to me from another franchise referral consultant, I am the CPA only in that relationship. Like I'm not going to start, being their franchise referral consultant, because that's the job of and I've been doing this for the last 5.5 years, which means that, my integrity, I take my integrity and my reputation very seriously. So the last thing I'm going to do is all of a sudden start giving franchise consulting advice to someone where I really should just be the CPA. So in addition to being a business broker, franchise consultant over here at BizFran Hub, I started providing these free consultation calls to all of these to all the buyers of these other consultants. And so developed a bunch of CPA business, all these clients, like a lot of them turn into tax business. And so I entered this world from the angle of a CPA, and I've attacked it from both angles. So like BizFran Hub is in this business as a business brokerage franchise consulting company, and Swartz and Reader and Swartz and Reader Advisors has developed a niche in this business resale and franchise world as a go-to CPA for small business franchises and business resales out there.
Man, you're getting me excited, man. I'm getting like pumped up just listening to you. So I hope everybody else is also getting.
Go take a cold shower, right?
Yeah. So it's incredible, because you know what? You love the game, right?
Love the game, man. Love the game.
Love the game, man. Like love the game. Like this is what, it's a mindset, everybody. You got to be driven by your mindset. And Michael, finds a connection through his dad, through a friend of his who's a brother. This guy becomes like a father figure, second father. But Mike is sold out to doing the right things. He's filing, as a graduate, right? And you think, oh, I'm too above that, but no, he wasn't. He learned it. 2-3 years later, becomes a partner, brings in his soon-to-be spouse. They become partners. They see little tweaks in the operations. And now he talks about marketing being genuinely just organic and giving value first to get marketing back dollars that way. Though that's the ROI there. I think one of the last things I just want to share, ask you, is scaling. So what was one thing that you decided, now putting on the hat of CEO, how did you scale? How did you start to, recruit the right people? Because obviously there is only 24 hours in a day. You have a new baby, so which has added some pressure and some of the ways that you schedule yourself. What did you do to start to attract the right team around you as well?
I suffered enough. I experienced enough pain of trying to do everything myself. Like when an argument can be made, like when we acquired those 2 books of business back in 2014 and 2015 and merged them into our main book, we grew kind of too fast. All of a sudden we got all these clients and we got to take care of them, and so like 60, 70, 80-hour weeks, pulling all-nighters, sleep deprived, overeating. I ballooned up to like 270 pounds at one point. I've lost a ton of weight over the last year, 18 months. And so I had 3 choices. I could have either continued this super unhealthy lifestyle of trying to do everything myself, owning these 2 companies, trying to do everything myself, and suppressing the stress. I was sitting at a desk all the time. It's not like I was moving around, and overeating to suppress my stress, and ballooning, like year after year, waistline going up. And I'm in my mid 20s, man, like early 30s. This is the prime of my life. That was planned. Like that was option 1. Option 2 was I could have just, hey, you know what? This entrepreneur life is just not for me. I need a nice 9 to 5, something that I can just, after 5, I can just turn off the work switch and just decompress until the next work day. Or option 3 is hey, Mike, you know what? You got to figure out a better way to make it happen, man. And so I chose option 3. And so that's pretty much like I experienced enough pain to I was like, okay, there's got to be a better way. So I got really selfish on my health. So I put my health before anything, like health and family. Like when I'm done with this interview with you, I don't have anything scheduled at like around like 6:30 each day is when I try to stop working and I unplug, and it's family time. And so and I don't negotiate on that. Like with there are people that they try to say, hey, Mike, are you around for like 7 or 8 p.m.? Old Mike used to be around at 7 or 8 p.m. like old Mike would do whatever, like to make the client happy. But now it's like, I'm non-negotiable on my health and my family time. And there's only one way to scale. You have to build a team, and you have progress, not perfection. Progress, not perfection. So, and like a big Gary Vaynerchuk nugget here, hiring is guessing and firing is knowing. So I've built up my team of, I have a team of income tax preparers and reviewers, and there are a number of them that I like. When I thought, like when I was having the initial interview with them, I just was rubbed the wrong way, and I just had a bad feeling about them, and I just didn't think it was going to work out. But I went against that assumption that I had, and some of them ended up being like the most reliable people on my team, like the best. And on the flip side, I've interviewed, like I've onboarded people that I was so confident that they were going to be great because they really passed that interview with flying colors, and they were just a train wreck. And so hiring is guessing. I really just the interview is one thing. At the end of the day, like you got to just like go like 30 to 60 days with someone to see how it goes before, and then you'll know. Firing is knowing. Like if you're going to fire, then like hiring is really guessing. Like, you can only learn so much about someone in an interview. They can pass it with flying colors, but then when it comes time, when the rubber meets the road and it comes time to work, they can completely like they can completely lay an egg. So just building progress, not perfection. Don't overthink, just make a decision and move forward. Build your team. Hiring is guessing, firing is knowing. Train. Got to train the people. Got to delegate. Like I play the delegation game with myself. So like whatever, like I can sit down and I'm always thinking to myself, what things that I would normally do myself. Like you said, there's only 24 hours in a day. Like a homeless person has 24 hours in a day, the same 24 hours that Jeff Bezos has. So the homeless person, and I'm like nothing against homeless people, it's just like the person they're sitting on the couch eating popcorn and watching Netflix all day has 24 hours. Jeff Bezos, Gary Vaynerchuk, John Andrade, Michael Reeder, Mimi Reeder, we have 24 hours. Like, how do you scale a business? The only solution is you have to multiply yourself. And so you have to build your team. You have to train your team. I play the delegation game with myself. Even if it's something that I can do and I can spend 5 or 10 minutes doing, I don't want to spend 5 or 10 minutes doing it over and over and over and over and over and over again. Like I would rather spend like 30 minutes training someone else so they can do it from that point forward. So I play the delegation game with myself. Whenever I'm doing a task, I'm always trying to delegate it to someone else on my team. Delegate. And then when those people know how to do it, they can train other people how to do it. I don't have to be the person always training people. I can train one person and that person can train the next 10 people. I play the delegation game. I also play the worst case situation game. I play the game with myself. I wake up one morning and Barry can no longer work. Barry's in the hospital or Barry passed away. Like, God forbid that it never happens. But, one of my key tax return reviewers all of a sudden got a 6-figure job somewhere and can no longer work. Like, oh crap, like what am I going to do? So I play these games in I pretend like it's reality, and it forces me to come up with plan. I have a deep bench. So like if someone like Tom Thibodeau, right? Like he would always next man up, for you Bulls fans out there, like whenever Derrick Rose would go down, then like CJ Watson would come in, or like John Lucas III would come in. So like whenever like I have a deep bench of tax return preparers and reviewers, so I'm never too dependent on one person. And so like I'm always playing that preparing for worst case situation game with myself. So when life does happen, I'm ready for it, and I'm never caught in a situation, because then I'm always thinking about my clients. I'm always thinking about it's like the client experience always has to be optimal. And I also don't want to go backwards. I mean, all of a sudden, like I'm going back to something happens to Barry or something happens to, a key person on my team. Then all of a sudden it's back to Mike working 80 hours a week. Oh crap. Like I want to avoid that too. Like I'll still do it to bring the money in. Like I never want to work for someone else. I never want to collect unemployment. I never want to be in a situation where that's ever. So I'll do whatever I got to do to stay self-employed. But I don't want. I always want to take steps forward. I never want to take steps back. And playing the delegation game helps me make sure, it gives me the best chance of that happening. And playing the worst case situation game gives me the best chance. Like when I play these games with myself, it forces me to build my business, to scale, to make sure that I'm doing so and always advancing and moving forward, as opposed to being in a situation 3 years from now where I'm 30, just turned 34. I don't want to be 37, 38, and all of a sudden I'm working like, I balloon back up again to 270 pounds because I'm doing everything myself. Like I only, just complete growth mode from here forward. And I know I can work hard. I've established that since day one, but working smart, like now working, like work hard, work smart, work hard, like work hard is my default, but now it's just work smart. Like it's working smart is what gets someone from, just, from here to here in business.
Sure.
To make your money work for you, you got to grow your team. You got to do what you got to do to always stay 10 steps ahead, because life happens. It's just a matter of when. And so are you going to be ready for it? If you're complacent and if you're a business owner and you're not playing the delegation game with yourself, and you're not playing the worst case situation game with yourself, then you're going to be vulnerable when life does happen to any number of the key people in your organization.
I love it. I think two major words come to mind: strategy and preparation, right? So, yep. When you get to that next level, and it could be in your personal lives, ladies and gentlemen, one of the things that we're going to do is interview intrapreneurs. So I'm excited maybe for you to share with me someone I can interview inside the Swartz Readers Advisories group, because there's probably someone in there that's an intrapreneur. Maybe they don't want to be the executive, right? Like yourself and Mimi, and Barry, but man, they're working so hard to just be that intrapreneur inside. So, but look, strategy, preparation, key things to learn from the few minutes that Michael has just shared here. So, in an effort to dwindle us down, I think we could talk probably another 3 hours. It would be so much fun to keep on going. But one of the things that we'll do is in 6 months, we'd love to have you on again. And hopefully we could have Mimi as well to kind of share her story as well, and just see kind of where you guys are going. So, but we do like to end with 3 different questions, and within Go for CEO, C is client experience, E is employee engagement, and O is an operational excellence. And you've kind of touched on all of them, so I hope that everybody's really learned that. But we'd like to end the interview with, what do you think is the value proposition, the number one thing that Swartz Reader and advisor brings in the client experience?
We are obsessed with client experience. We operate as a team, so the client doesn't have to be relying on just reaching out to one person. They have multiple contacts. Like they can reach out to me, Barry, Mimi, anyone on our admin team. They have multiple points of contact, so they can get an answer whenever, like on demand, whenever they need it. And really just the overall experience in terms of paperless workflow. Just, like we live in this digital world where people are making decisions, they're signing documents on their phone, on their computer, and we just want to make sure that we can stay up to speed with the fast-paced world that we live in. So just, like everyone's busy out there with family and work, and so just pretty much having a document workflow, a document exchange with source material for the tax return, the actual tax return itself, just making it streamlined. And then just the strategy, like the combination of old school and new school that they get when they're working with Barry. You get decades of experience of someone who's been there, done that, and then someone like me and someone like Mimi, who is more of a, we're very well versed in today's modern world with all of the apps and the gadgets and all the things out there that can optimize. There's this great cam scanner phone. People take photos of their all the time. It happens people will send JPEG images of their W-2, and then it comes in, it's all blurry, but they don't have a scanner at their house. But there's this great app called the Cam Scanner that they can download on their phone. So we have this template email. We have this template email that we send clients that don't have a scanner, but we have this whole step-by-step email that we send clients how they can download Cam Scanner on their phone, and they could and they can just scan their documents that way to us through their phone, but it's more visible than just a regular photo image. So we're just obsessed with providing about making the tax return preparation and process as stress-free as possible out there for a client. And we pride ourselves on being a good middle ground for the client in terms of price. but towards the upper echelons in terms of quality. So you're going to get that mid-level market, that mid-level firm feeling for, for half or 60% of the price of the cost. So just pretty much all of those factors combined are the value propositions of why small businesses would want to work with Swartz and Reeder for their accounting and tax needs.
I love it. I love it. So now employee engagement.
Again, another nugget from Gary Vaynerchuk. I work for my employees. They don't work for me. I view them as free agents, and like at any time they, there's at will employment. It's at will employment, so they can I want to. I'm pretty much just I'm always asking them questions, what's going on. I'm just, making sure that I develop that relationship with them. Mimi's great at it. She has a great relationship with our employees, just making sure that they're happy. And if they're not, making sure that we're addressing those needs. And doing and asking them, like, employee engagement, like a big part of me playing the delegation game with myself is I delegate tasks to other people on my team. I don't even like to refer to my team as employees and I'm the boss. Like, we're all coworkers. So like, I'm always communicating with my coworkers. I'm by me delegating stuff to them, it's an opportunity for them to learn. And if they can learn something new, then it's an opportunity. And if they can do that over and over again, and then all of a sudden I'm not doing these things, then it's an opportunity for them to make more money. And so I engage them because it's going to help me delegate, get things off of my plate. And I'm going to engage them so they can do more things and be more, and they can be like, stay intrigued where it's not like they're coming to work every day and doing the same old thing year after year after year. And they, people just kind of lose their, people want to make money. People want to feel secure at their job, but people also want to be empowered, and they want to have that feeling of empowerment that the company that they work for is relying on them and is deferring to them for some strategic thinking, as opposed to just everything being downriver and like, this is what I'm the boss and this is what I say, now you do it, as opposed to like asking for feedback. Hey, like, here's something that has to get done, team, how do you suggest that we do it? And then absorbing their feedback and making them part of the decision-making process, as opposed to just like, talking down to them all the time, saying, do this, do that, I'm the boss. And so really, and then that's something that I've learned more and more as I've scaled these last couple of years, is just the only way to get to the mountaintop is to build your team and to trust your team. And to do that, you have to just let them make this, like, ask for feedback from them, let them make some decisions. But I always fall on the sword if like, I let them make decisions, but if it ever comes back to bite them, I fall on the sword. That they have to know that, like, I'm not going to come back to them and be like, what the heck? Why did you do that? You shouldn't do that. You make the decisions, but I'm going to give you air cover. Because like, we're not perfect. We're not perfect. So I want you to make it here's the framework to operate within. But and so make decisions. But guess what? If you make a mistake, I'm going to fall on the sword for you. I'm going to be the one reaching out to the client saying that we screwed up, or reaching out to the vendor saying that we screwed up. The employee is not the owner. Like, that's me. Like, I gotta show that I gotta be that leader. I gotta give them the opportunity to roam and operate and make decisions. But they got to know that I got their back, and we learn through our mistakes too. It's an opportunity to learn. So just investing in my employees, man, like my coworkers is the name of the game when it comes to being a business owner. And if you don't do that, again, you're leaving yourself vulnerable, because employees are free agents. And if you're not treating them the way that they should be treated, they're going to leave you one day.
No doubt. And you can never really get past that self-employed mindset if you don't know what it takes to become a business owner, right? The true sense of employee engagement and understanding. So last one, and you've kind of dived into it quite a few times. So, but just kind of like a sentence of why your operational excellence is top-notch and value prop with Swartz and Advisors.
Because we're all about implementing processes and training the team on those processes. And as you can tell, you, John, and all the listeners, I'm pretty long-winded, so I can go on and on about that. But that's really like that's in the spirit of keeping it short to cater to your request of saying like 1 or 2 sentences. It's
Yeah.
developing processes and then training people on the team those processes. Because if you have process, then you have structure. And then if you're training people on the team, then everyone knows what it is. And then that's really what allows the machine to become a well-oiled machine that's just operating smoothly. There has to be structure, there has to be process, and everyone on the team has to be trained on it. That way that there's no scatterbrain, there's no randomness, there's no 5 different directions or confusion. There has to be set structure, set process, and the necessary amount of training has to be invested so everyone on the team knows what the processes are. Then everyone can cross-train each other. They don't all have to come to Mike, for the magic answer. Like invest in that training of the team, and then the team can take it from there. They can cross-train each other.
I love it. You know what? You just gave a supreme golden nugget right there. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening to that, the last minute and a half there, again, I keep on saying last minute and a half, but you got to rewind some of these things that Michael is sharing with you. Some of the nuggets that it's just, it is true embodiment of what it takes to go from a worker to a partner to really what he's become as CEO of this business and starting to really develop. So excited that in the next 6 to 12 months, Mike, I'd love to have you back on, share with the audience kind of the new scaling things that you're doing, what's going on. Hopefully you've doubled maybe your revenue in 2021 and you're just kind of doing some great things, and even some of the new teammates that you brought on and people that you've been able to, duplicate yourself through. So excited to have you on in about 6 to 12 months. So any last words, but also let's go with where can people find you, your social media? I know you're an organic networker, but you said you're on LinkedIn. So just give your LinkedIn profile, your phone number if you'd like, and your website.
Sure. So my LinkedIn profile is my first, middle, and last name, because there are other Michael Reeders out there, I found out. So Michael Ian Reeder. Search me on LinkedIn, send me a connection request. My middle name is Ian, I-A-N. My Irish Catholic mother, gave me that middle initial, even though it was named after my Jewish great-grandmother, Eileen, who I never had the chance of meeting. But Ian. So Michael Ian Reeder. And
spell Reeder, R-E-E, right?
R-E-E-D-E-R. R-E-E-D-E-R. So
Love it.
Michael Ian Reeder, hit me up on LinkedIn. My cell phone is 847-302-3397. You can call me and text me at that number. My email address is michaelreeder@swartzreeder.com. So Michael Reeder at SWARTZREEDER.com. Send me a LinkedIn message, send me a text message, send me an email. Let's get a phone call in the books. I'm notorious for my free consultation calls. They started out working with business buyers, but really anyone out there that wants to have a consultation call to talk about, accounting, taxes, buying a business, selling a business. Heck, we didn't talk about it today, John, but if you want, I'm very passionate about human optimization and what I do in my day-to-day life to optimize myself as a human being, like they're like biohacks, like intermittent fasting, cold showers, whatever you out there, like whatever you listener, like whatever, if you want to talk about, strategies to optimize yourself as a human being, let's talk. I'm all about creating relationships, having that free consultation call at the beginning with no expectation of anything in return, has proved to be very successful for me in business. I'm all about creating relationships. So you want to talk to me in any context, accounting, tax, buying a business, selling the business, anything about franchising your business, and or if you want to just have a non-business conversation and talk about lifestyle optimization, hit me up. Let's talk.
Oh man, you are delivering value. It's just nonstop, brother.
Man. You got me fired
up. Nonstop, man. Value, push, value.
Value, but the rest take care of itself.
I love it, man. So thank you so much, man. I am excited. I think I'm going to go back and listen to some of these parts very intently, because I just picked up some things that I hope people are taking notes and really making some adjustments after listening to this. So thank you so much. Any last words?
Practice self-awareness. If you want to be a CEO and then God bless you. If you want to be an employee somewhere, God bless you. If you want to make $1 million, God bless you. If you want to make 50 to 60 grand and spend a lot of time with family and travel and coach youth baseball, God bless you. Practice self-awareness. Practice self-awareness every day. Self-analyze the way that you're wired, what makes you happy, and build a life around that. I'm a passionate business owner. That doesn't mean that you are, but maybe it does mean that you are. Whatever it is, just practice self-awareness and don't let other people's happiness think that convince you that that's what's required to make you happy. You have to be self-aware about the life that you want to live. Whether, this is the Go for CEO podcast. So, I would imagine a lot of listeners out there want to be CEOs. And if you want to be a CEO, let's talk. I'd be happy to have a CEO centric conversation with you. John knows some great CEO influencers in his network that he can put you in touch with. I do as well. But or if you think that you're a CEO and maybe 6 to 12 months down the road, you think that it's not right for you, there's no shame in that. Being a business owner is a lifestyle, and it's a lifestyle not for everyone, but for the people that it is for, it's just it's an amazing thing. But what's the most amazing for everyone is for when everyone is living the life that they want to live. And if it's a CEO for that particular person, great. If it's an employee lifestyle, great. If they're a doctor and they're working in third world countries and it's not about the money, it's about helping people in need, great. Be self-aware about what makes you happiness and the legacy that you want to leave. Like John and I were talking about legacy, and John wants to leave a legacy for his daughters and just for his family, and I want to leave a legacy for my daughter and my family. And money is one aspect of that legacy. Creating wealth, generational wealth is one aspect of that legacy. But really, I want to be known as someone who just provided a lot of value to people. And on the business on the business brokering side, I want to be known. I don't want my success to be measured by the amount of commissions that I make. I want my success to be measured by the amount of people that I placed in businesses that were successful year after year after year, and they had exits, number of years down the road that they profited off of. I want my legacy. I want to provide value to the online, to the franchise and business resale worlds by creating the BizFran Hub, digital marketplace and resource hub and service provider that is just, it just provides so much value to anyone out there that wants to buy a business or sell a business. I'll let the money take care of itself. I'm obsessed with providing value to people. That's the legacy that I want to live. I'll let the money take care of itself. And so, again, another long-winded message from yours truly, Michael Reeder. Just ultimately, practice self-awareness and live the life that you want to live, because we only got one life, and you got to make sure that you're if you're waking, again, going back to Gary Vaynerchuk, because he's a big idol of mine, someone who I respect a lot. If you're waking up every day and you're happy, then you got to figure it out. And if you're not, then figure it out. You got time to figure it out. But that's the thing, we're only on this earth for so many days, so many years. Live a life in which you're more day after day, you're more happy than unhappy. If you're doing that, forget about the money. Money is one thing. If you're waking up every day and you're happy,